Welcome to the Daily Dharma, a gentle podcast where we read a philosophical story every week and reflect on how it relates to everyday life. Our focus is to use Buddhist philosophy to understand the complexity of modern life and find achievable and accessible pathways to peace and happiness. Hi everyone, welcome to the Daily Dharma. In this episode, we'll be talking about how we can deal with disillusionment, how it arises, and how we can respond to it within ourselves and others. The story that we'll be reflecting on this theme is called A Dialogue with the Wind, and it comes from the book Zen Stories with Master Seiji by Daiki Shimada. Here is how the story goes. In search of inspiration, a well-known city artist whose talent for capturing landscapes and portraits had once been unrivaled with others, found herself ensnared in a deep creative drought. With hope of rediscovering her muse, she approached Master Seiji, who was quietly sitting on a bench in front of his house, lost in thought. Master Seiji, she began, her voice a mirror to the turmoil within. She hesitated, her gaze falling to her restless hands. It's as though my creativity has abandoned me. My canvas remains blank, echoing how barren I feel inside. Master Seiji turned to her with a warm smile and said, "Then paint the wind for me." Confused and somewhat taken aback by the request, the artist protested. "But master, that's impossible. The wind can't be seen. How can it be painted?" "Ah," Seiji replied, his eyes twinkling with a playful light. "Perhaps in trying to capture the invisible, you'll learn to see again." Baffled yet intrigued, the artist returned to her studio. Days turned into weeks as she wrestled with the task. She sat in open fields, feeling the breeze, watching as it danced through leaves, and listened to its whispering sounds throughout the city streets. Slowly but surely, she began to understand, and her hands moved with a purpose she hadn't felt in months. The canvas that once haunted her with its emptiness now burst to life with strokes that mirrored the wind's playful dance with nature. She painted the bending of the grass, the fluttering of the leaves, and the sway of blossoms, all under the invisible hand of the wind. When she returned to see Master Seiji, she carried her artwork, a vivid reminder of her return to creation. "I tried to paint the wind," she replied, a new light in her eyes. Master Seiji studied the painting. "No," he finally spoke. "You painted your conversation with the wind, and in doing so, you found your voice again. Well done." The artist left, a subtle smile, her only goodbye, her heart lighter and her canvas once again full of possibility. The wind, once a source of confusion, had whispered to her not just the essence of creativity, but also the beauty of embracing the unseen. To me, this story feels very universal because whether it's our creativity or our general enthusiasm for life, I find that sometimes, like a light that just kind of goes out, we feel as though something is missing. And when this happens, especially because these are parts of ourselves that we just normally take for granted, no matter how bad the day, no matter how tough things are at work or with family, we manage to find those valuable, essential treasures within ourselves that allow us to just get through the day and enjoy a moment of peace here and there. But when that is gone, all we feel is this deep emptiness. And emptiness within us is terrifying. It's terrifying because we are so used to our mind full of thoughts, our heart full of feelings, our body full of sensations, that to feel nothing, to feel empty and disconnected is one of the most terrifying feelings of all. Because it's more or less this idea of like, I'm not even sure if I feel human right now. I'm not even sure if I'm connected to other people right now. I feel like a node that's just floating in outer space. And I'm not sure how I can connect to my life, to the people I love, to the environment around me. And this disillusionment, I find, is very much prevalent in society these days because, for good reason, a lot of people feel that circumstances are just terrible. And so are governments, so are sometimes the way our neighbors feel about the world we don't agree with. And this is something I've wrestled with for a long time because especially when you feel as though things are just getting worse in the world, how do you even smile anymore? How do you even muster up the energy to feel hopeful anymore? How do you not stew and just bathe and live in that disillusionment as this permanent environment? Well, I think for me at least, to live in disillusionment would be just absolutely miserable. And however, I find myself disillusioned sometimes. And in the past, I would struggle, and I still do, to essentially understand like why this is happening to me. I have so many beautiful and wonderful things in my life, so many people, so much care, so much love. Why do I feel disillusioned? And then after a while, I'm asking and wondering and pondering and meandering in my thoughts in and out, writing diary entries. I realize this is the wrong question. Does it really matter why I'm disillusioned? The question is, how am I supposed to deal with this disillusionment now? And of course, we always try our usual methods of knocking ourselves out of disillusionment, like listening to a song, watching a movie. But really, for me, disillusionment means I'm just really, really exhausted. I'm exhausted with engaging with the world, paying attention, of thinking about things. And I just need to give myself a free pass not to feel for a day, several days, maybe even a whole week, to just turn off that side of me that says, yes, you must perform. You must perform emotionally and conversationally. I expect you to look and sound and be engaged with the world around you. And quite honestly, sometimes, especially when nothing has gone wrong in the day and I'm disillusioned, I can get quite annoyed with myself. And I have to actually give myself permission to feel empty and to feel disillusioned and simply to let that feeling be, to let it alone. And when I leave it alone and I accept that this is how I feel with compassion and actual mindfulness. Little by little, just like how the artist sat in the field and began paying attention, looking at the world with new eyes, seeing new things, new details, new patterns she didn't notice before. Your mind starts to just notice that there are beautiful moments, feelings, things in the world that you still feel connected to. And perhaps you just needed time within your mind and your body to just rest and recalibrate. And I think even if it takes a very long time for that to happen, it's okay. When we are disillusioned, it means that our senses, our mind, our hearts are simply deeply burned out. And we just need a break from caring and loving and feeling. It's funny to say that because we often never like the idea that we can get tired of feeling, can get tired of love, but I think it's true. Just like a muscle, we can get tired of that. And when we're disillusioned, we just need to give ourselves the time and the space to just disconnect, rest, and slowly recalibrate. I hope you have a beautiful, joyful, and safe week ahead of you. If you have any questions or thoughts you'd like to share, please email me anytime at dailydharmapodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to today's episode, and may you have a wonderful week ahead of you. Until next week.